So the last thing I want to talk about today is
Yes.
the GB3 Championship that went into round 1 this weekend. In case you're unfamiliar with the GB3 Championship, it is essentially a step between Formula 4 and Formula 3. However, this year there was huge changes in the championship done. So they have all brand new cars. They're all racing in the same car, but obviously different setups. The car now meets the FIA F3 safety standards. So they have like a brand new titanium halo, which is lighter. It has 35% more downforce. It has bigger tires in the front and in the back. I think they're increased by 2 inches each. So I think the front is now 10 and then the back is 12. And then it's also, I think the car overall is lighter and it has also more horsepower. So it's much faster. And going into this championship, I was like, it was on my, I guess, little paper to watch it because we have Bianca Bustamante, who was last year in the F1 Academy, as well as the F1 Academy champion, Abby Pulling, who are both joining the GB3 Championship this year.
And for Abby, it was literally her prize.
It's her prize, yeah. She got a full ride for this year's season. And Bianca Bustamante graduated the McLaren driver program, and she's now with the Elite Racing Team or something like that.
Is Jamie Chadwick still in GB3 or no?
No, because she races now in the Le Mans or European Le Mans series in the hypercars.
Yes. I wasn't sure if she was still with them.
I do believe that I think right now the biggest championship contender, I don't think he is actually doing a full season in the GB3. His name is, I believe, Freddie Slater.
Oh,
and he absolutely dominated.
Yeah.
They also changed up the qualifying format for this. So they used to do one qualifying session and for the top 2 results, those will be your qualifying results, because GB3, just like F4, they do 3 races a weekend, 12 laps each. And the way it works now is you have qualifying 1, which will set the obviously the grid for race 1. Then qualifying 2 will set the grid for race 2, and then the best results out of both qualifying will set the grid for
race 3.
However, it is a reverse grid for the top 12.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yes, so there's definitely a change. Also, the cars now have DRS. They didn't have before, but they have DRS now. I almost forgot to mention that.
That's really interesting. Okay, so I really like the reverse grid for the third race that has the best numbers, because there's not really a way that you can manipulate it.
No,
because that's what I'm always concerned about with like reverse order. Like, can you play with it a little bit?
It's so hard because how are you going to know what the other rider is going to get?
No, of course. But then now that you have the 2 qualifying sessions and you have 3 races, so both qualifying numbers are really important.
Yeah,
and then it's just like.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting. Also, very quickly, Freddie Slater. I feel like that's such a great name. I don't know. Like
it's like that that pro surfer Slater. Wasn't he also? Yeah. But I don't think his name is Freddie.
Kelly Slater.
Yeah, Kelly, Freddie.
Yeah.
That's,
but it's just like it like I could see it on like a Formula 1 kind of Freddie Slater.
And I honestly think he's probably going to join F3 soon, and he might be, advancing through the ranks there because he's insane. He also won last year the Formula 4 Italian Championship. And then he also did already some testing in a Formula 3 car. I don't think I'm uncertain if he really participated in a race.
Gotcha. Yeah, he's 16 years old.
Yeah, he's 16. 2008 he was born. Like, mother effer. How are you 16 and born in 2008? Don't anger me. But yeah, he was insane. The first 2 races, he led from the start, and he was like half a second faster per lap than everyone else on the grid. I will say, of course, everyone behind him was kind of driving in dirty air because they were kind of battling with each other the whole time. However,
was it like a long DRS train essentially?
It was like you had like chunks kind of together, and they were racing in Silverstone, so you had 2 DRS zones. And it's same DRS rules, so you have to be within a second. However, he was, I think the first race he ended with like a almost 6-second gap, and then the second race ended up actually in a safety car. So his 8-second lead was diminished, but crazy guy. He's so fast.
Nice.
Definitely someone I'm interested in keeping my eye out on. Bianca Bustamante did not race in race 1 because at the end of qualifying 2, I believe, she had a crash. And because the cars are all so new and new to the mechanics, they weren't able to put it together for race 1.
Yeah.
However, Abby Pulling qualified in 4th for race 1.
Get it, Abby.
And then I think for race 2, she qualified in 6th.
Okay.
And then I think in the reverse order, she was 5th again. Okay. I'm uncertain.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that. She, I think in race... So also what I forgot to mention is they have 2 set of tires for the whole weekend.
Oh, wow.
So that means that they also already have to do maybe some tire strats going into race 1. Some people in the comments, from what I've read, they were not that happy. They're like, that's so much you already have to worry about in race 1.
Yeah.
But I think it also teaches them about...
tire degradation
and tire preservation, and it's especially like I think there was this thought process, at least from what I'm thinking, that in Abby's first race, so she slipped down to 5th place, and then she then ended up not doing a push for it. I think she was like, okay, listen, the guy behind me is not catching, right? I don't need to ride in this guy's dirty air. I think it was her teammate. I can just essentially kick it in that spot and just drive it home to 5th and collect those points.
Okay, fair.
And she's still with Rodin, which I think was also the team that she rode into F1 Academy. I don't know if that necessarily had anything to do with it or if that's the spot that's just designated for that driver.
Yeah.
You do have 25 racers on the grid. And then I think every team has like 3 racers or something like that on there. You do the math. I don't know how that works out.
That's fine.
And really unfortunate, in race 3, all 3 Rodin drivers who were actually won the Constructors' Championship. So all of Team Rodin, DNF, and all of them, not their fault. I think
they crashed.
They crashed, but I think due to other racers, I think the first one, I think it was Lyle, I think is his name. He he was just taken out going into, I think it was T1. There were so many. I think they were 3 wide going into this turn. It was just no way. And then he ended up being taken out. Then. The other one was more of a racing incident, and then Abby, it was definitely the other guy's fault. She was in the front, and then it was going into, I think it's called the Hamilton Straight. So it's a right-hander that goes onto that one. And so she washed out onto the curb, and then you kind of drift in, and he didn't leave her any room. And he was but he wasn't alongside.
Yeah.
He was just on her rear tire, and then essentially she comes back onto the track, which is her right, and he doesn't leave any room, and then essentially he hits her tire and both of them crash out. And then honestly, it's also so scary because on the right side, she makes a sharp right into concrete.
Oof.
Fortunately, it seems like both drivers were okay.
Good.
And it's unfortunate stuff like this just happens. But very unfortunate because I thought she did really, really well. Especially coming into this, I couldn't find, because they interviewed a bunch of the drivers, I did find an interview actually with Bianca Bustamante, and she actually was talking about how the physicality of it coming into this from F1 Academy is a huge step up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she, because the car is has a lot more downforce and in general, I think ground effects than the F1 Academy car. It has DRS. It is, I think, 20 miles per hour faster. She said during the winter break, she had to gain 7 kilograms of muscle mass in order for her to drive this car. Yeah. And she also said the goal is for her to stay in the GB3 for a while to really grow, because I think a lot of the rookies for new in this car and new in cars that have also DRS, there's going to be a big
learning
improvement
curve,
over the time. It's really positive to see that Abby already qualified so far in the front, starting on second row.
Yes.
It's really great because she was surrounded by people who had already some experience, I think, in a similar car. So really good for her. Bianca didn't qualify as far in the front. She qualified, I think, 21st or something 22nd.
But then also, to be fair, her stint at F1 Academy wasn't as successful as Abby's.
Yes, of course.
So yeah, so I
not
do
as comparable. Yes,
exactly.
But it is quite interesting to see, because if you don't know who Bianca Bustamante is, I think she's like 5'2" or 5'4". You know, she's obviously not a very big person, and then gaining 7 kilograms in muscle mass. That's a lot.
Yes,
I think that's a lot for anyone.
Yeah,
7 kilograms. What is that, like 15 pounds?
I don't know, something around that. Yeah, like that. So it's a lot.
That's a lot to gain, especially someone who is probably not particularly heavy. So I thought it was really interesting. I thought the races were really good. You can watch them for free on YouTube. Once again, they do 3 races. The season just started, and I think I'm definitely going to keep my eye on it, because once again, 12 laps.
Yeah,
doesn't take very long. What I really also appreciate about the championship, they do put in a lot of effort in like making it so they have an intro for all the drivers.
Oh, I love that.
It's not like an individual intro how they have it for F1 Academy or F1, but they show all 3 racers for the team, and then they all have like that motion. What I also really like is at the beginning of each broadcast or before the race, they actually show footage from a car doing a lap, and then someone is explaining it, you know, how to go through it, and you know what the line is. And I think that's really cool, especially as a viewer, if you don't have that much experience, or it's also a good way to get to know the track.
Yes.
So I thought that was really cool, and they did it for every single race. I only watched one of them.
Yeah.
But I think it's really cool, and I love how much effort they're putting into this, especially because I think they really want to establish themselves as like, you want to stop by here before you go to F3 or F2, you know? Because it is, I think it's still a little bit of a step below F3. But it's awesome, and I highly recommend checking it out.
That's awesome.
Once again, it's free.
We love free.
Yes, we love free. And this year, they also will be racing in Monza, which I love.
Oh, lovely.
Monza was just added to the season.
Lovely.
Anyways, I think that will finish it up.
Good.
We've been chatting for a long time now. Is there anything else you would like to share before we wrap this up?
No, I shared all my additional tidbits of things that I wanted to share earlier on, so I'm all set.
I'm all talked out as well. I think we covered plenty of different series this weekend. As always, let us know how you guys felt about it, what you guys watched, how it was, all the good stuff. On Spotify, if you're listening to this, hit the follow, hit the 5 stars, nothing less, I think. And on YouTube, as always, like and subscribe, get in the comments, and we will be seeing you guys on YouTube probably Monday through Thursday, and on Spotify we will be hearing from us. You will be hearing from us next week, Monday again.
Yeah, and then on Thursday on YouTube we also have our What to Watch coming out, so you can find out exactly what you can watch this upcoming weekend.
Correct.
Yes.
And then you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.